Welcome to the colony, where we have three generations of nerdy guys talking about stuff.
Three. Hey guys, Corey here with the colony. Introduce everyone. Go ahead.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Michael.
And
And
I'm
this,
Ashley.
yay! Ashley decided to visit us today. And
I'm
we're
Yeah.
excited to be here.
The funny part was I remember messaging Ashley, I think it was 2022, asking if I could make my robot cow themed, and that's pretty much how our friendship kind of started prior to me physically fighting Milk Tank a year prior. But yeah, no, I've known Ashley for about 3 years now. All started with that one message.
Yeah.
What over to you guys?
I met Ashley like 2 years ago on the outside of the box server, and I remember because I talked with her in person when she was staff before, but I remember distinctly like really meeting her for the first time, and my mom was very confused when Ashley very suddenly came up to me and gave me a hug. She had no idea who this woman was. And I had to explain to her, this is Ashley, she's cool, we're good. Um, no, because I literally her first instinct, she's like, I'm gonna give Mitch a hug.
My usual instinct to everybody.
it's not a bad one.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much dialogue you and I had before, like my September event, but when I went up against the shredded guys and Wakey Wakey and the whole cow motif and everything, and that's I think was my first encounter with you, like in person and not watching you on the stream.
I love this. I love that you guys remember the first interactions with me. Corey, one of the first things I ever remember with you was when you sent me a picture in the Mario outfit, and I was like
Yes,
so excited because I was like, yes, someone else is gonna dress up.
I need that picture.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
can
in the
get you.
very, very beginning of my DMs with Corey.
That's so funny. Mike, if you wanted to kick it off.
Yeah, well, we know that you performed and competed with Milk Tank, and you've made this transition into whatever it is you do now for Norwalk and being an MC and doing like a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes. You know, kind of curious on what that journey's been like for you, because I mean, we don't know if anybody's asked you about that before.
That's totally fair. And I don't really think that anyone has. I know I did a lot of interviews, like kind of when I was a builder, quote unquote. And then after I just kind of realized that building robots all the time is like really stressful. I'm not sure like how you guys do it. Like Corey blows my mind when he can just like CAD a brand new robot in like an hour and a half. And like that's just not the way that my brain works.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Fine
so,
either.
yeah, one event, I was like, you know what? Like, I want to learn. I'm like a learner. Like, my brain likes to learn things, and I like to always do new things. Like, when I was growing up, every time I worked a job, it was always like, okay, I started here, but then, like, what could I do next? And so, my original, like, path to working was kind of like, what can I, like, find out? Like, what is this place? Like, what can I learn? And, like, how far can I go? And so it was cool to kind of just like start working. And then as I worked more, I got like so many cool opportunities. Like I got to do like tours during events, and I actually got to do a tour for the first time in a little while, the last event, which was like super fun. And I've worked behind the pit desk. I was a floor manager for one of the events, and so like I'm super grateful that NHRL kind of trusts me as a person, and they were like, "Well, Ashley, you want to try this? Do you want to try this?" Like, sure, like I'll try that. And like I even told Jimmy, I'm like, "If you want me to cage manage, you want me to ref, like I'm down to learn because like why not?" And so it was just kind of like a cool journey of like what can I learn, but at the same time like it was my like I love the people in this sport, And so by working events, it really kind of gave me more of an opportunity to interact with the people and learn more about them. And like, even though I just run people up and down stairs all the day when I'm a bot runner, like the conversations that I have and like the people that I got to meet and like watching people grow up over these last like 2 years. Like Lars is one that we talk about a lot, especially recently with how successful he's been. But like I remember when Lars like would barely even talk to the pit desk and he was so timid and and now like you're like, "Hey Lars," and he's just on his own doing his own thing, like doing really well. And so it's like it's been cool to kind of just be there alongside like everyone's journey and have that chance to kind of feel hand in hand with them and like support them as they go.
Cool.
Uh,
You know what? That also kind of plays into, now that you're on that side of the fence, let's say, and some people are like Rob leaving, and more of like people are becoming competitors or whatnot, and NHRL is bringing in new people. Who have you seen that's been like of the new people that have been like a really good standout as staff?
Well, last event, it was actually really cool because Alex and Gabe from Clyde were two of the new refs kind of behind the scenes. And
Okay.
so it's cool to see them like, you see competitors like Alex and Gabe, and then you see referees Alex and Gabe, and you're like, oh, huh, well, that's cool. And like, they know what's going on in fights. They know what to look for. When Kevin Biagini was a house bot driver, you don't
Yep.
get a better house bot driver than someone that can successfully drive a robot.
Yeah.
And to like be able to transition that into beautiful unsticks is like a super win. And so like Jimmy tells people all the time, like if you ever want to try it, like just let me know. Like there's a lot to do in different avenues of stuff. And so it's always cool to see, people go both ways where we have, Gwen who's back to kicking butt and being a competitor and,
Sure.
qualifying and stuff. Um, but then like to see other people go the other way and just kind of try it behind the scenes. And it's helpful too, because when you learn from that perspective, you can take it elsewhere. Like Boxlemania is going to try to come back. Like Alex and Gabe are obviously huge supporters of Brian and Glenn and everything that they do, right? So the experience and the knowledge that you get from NHRL can take you other places. I mean, I'm lucky enough because I've learned so many robots like that I've been able to MC events and talk through fights and be able to share the stories of the people that are driving the robots.
I think the last serious question I have for you before like I let the other guys have at you, how many different like teams, things, organizations do you touch? I mean, you're with Magnitude, NHRL,
Team
Hartford
defective.
So, yes,
Rangers.
Effective, yeah.
I've done Maker Battle in Hartford. I've done G Scroll in New Jersey. I went to Boxomania and Brian and Glenn were nice enough to let me, call a few fights. So I did touch a little bit there. I did call a fight at Motorama this year, although it was Zach's. I did get to joke
Yeah.
around a little bit. And then when we went to RIT for NHRL, Sam and I called fights all day long. And so while it was still an NHRL event, it was kind of a little bit different than from what I always do. And then this year I am planning on touching the Merca circuit a little bit with some of our new teammates out west with like Dustin and Emily and Nacho Robotics. Emily's hosting an event in Ohio that's not too far from Pennsylvania. So I told her that I'm willing to volunteer and, put my hand in that hat a little bit and kind of help there too. So it's definitely been a lot of different organizations in different ways, but it's been really cool to kind of see how everybody else does it.
Well, first off, we got to give a big shout out to Emily for taking first place.
So proud
Yeah.
of her at I3
Yeah.
yesterday in Detroit. She
Yeah.
she took first place with Marg.
Yeah.
After having a really terrible start to her day, mind you, she had to stand bucket the first fight because of an ESC. And so she had like a terrible, she could barely use the second weapon assembly that she had. And so she had to kind of fight back against that all day long. But she took home first, and I'm so proud of her.
To kind of segue, Mitch, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No problem.
To segue, going back a couple years when you first got into like the NHRL, did you ever imagine like you'd be able to go to events? Oh, hey, you're gonna MC this match, or you're gonna, even though you're part of a team, they're kind of just pulling you in all these other directions. Did you ever imagine that would be a couple years ago where you are today?
Oh gosh, no, not at all. Like, it was so cool to be a part of what Milk Tank was in the beginning and like all of the storytelling that we got. And so to be kind of held in that light from the beginning from NHRL was cool in its own. We were the people that got picked to be on the TV show for NBC and stuff like that. And so at that point, it was like, this is kind of surreal that this is even happening. And then I went to visit BattleBots back in October of 2022, I guess it was. And the kid, I sat next to some random kid and he goes, "Hey, you're that girl from Milk Tank, right?" And at that point, I was like, whoa, like I'm thousands of miles away. And like this random person who's obviously a robot fan, like knows exactly who I am and knows like where I come from. And so that was like really cool. And then just kind of just keep going and people being like, "Oh yeah, sure, like just try it." Every league is out there looking for volunteers and stuff. Like they want people to help. That's how those leagues run. And so I just took my opportunities to say yes and do as much as I could do, but I definitely never thought it would get me like this far. And to be so well known and so recognized is really like an honor and like a really cool feeling that I never thought I would get to like experience, like especially because the people in this sport are just like the people like Jameson Go and stuff like that. Like people know who they are. And like I never would think to walk down a street and be held in a space of combat robots and people know my name, but they do. And while it's not for a reason in the box, it's still for a reason that means a lot to me. And so it is like just pretty incredible.
Mitch.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a question for you, Ashley, if you don't mind answering. You have had both the builder and the staff experience. I know personally, as a builder, I tend to look at things from a very grumpy old man sitting at his TV, like, "Oh, why did you do that? Why, blah, blah, blah," kind of perspective. Can you tell me a bit about like the difference of perspective that you have when you're viewing an event as a competitor compared to as a staff member? How you view things, what you notice.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because more so recently too, I've taken events where like I haven't necessarily worked, but I haven't been a quote unquote competitor. I'm just kind of been around. And so I've kind of just every being a competitor to me at the time was stressful. It was time limits, it was being ready, it was just knowing enough to get in the box absolutely on the time that you were needed. And that was at a time where the schedule wasn't as strict. And so to feel that kind of pressure then, I can't even imagine that pressure now and having to only have, 20 minutes and stuff like that. From a work standpoint, it's kind of crazy because when I bot run, and like I'll tell people all the time, I'm like, I have no idea what's happening. Like, I don't know what's going on in any of the boxes because I know what fights are going down. But then by the time I've brought a fight down, I'm back in the stairwell bringing another fight. And so I'll legitimately ask people like, "How is your day going?" And they like look at me and I'm like, "I haven't seen any of your fights." So I'm genuinely asking because I don't know what's happening. And so you kind of just live in this like bubble of chaos, but like it's forever going. And so it's like really kind of weird because you're like, "Okay, are we on time? I know the fights are going down, but it's just like a different time perspective." And sometimes I like look down and I'm like, "Oh, all day went by. Okay, great. Like now what?" Like, "Oh, it's time for prime time already. I didn't even have lunch." Like, great. um, but then to be like kind of the support and just be in the pits, it's kind of like, "Okay, what time is it? whose fight is next? Like, what do I have to worry about? Like, whose robot am I grabbing? Am I can I carry synthesis 30 over my head today? You know? And I did that. So it's really interesting to like be in all of the different positions and then but each one of them I do think differently and act differently no matter like which one I'm going into. And so it's like, do I need to be supporter Ashley? Do I need to be working Ashley? Do I need to be competitor Ashley and like pretend I want my friends to all kill each other's robots? Like
By the way, I'll say, because I got to spend this past event a lot of time with Ashley watching fights near the end of the day. There is in that audience no one louder. No one who will cheer for you louder than Ashley. It doesn't matter how you're doing. She will yell your bot's name the entire fight. She's so supportive. And my ears hurt.
Sorry, Mitch.
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, but that's one of my like most favorite times, right? And like
Yeah.
I forget who said it to me last event. It was probably Ariel, but she was like, "Do you cry every event?" And I'm like, "Yeah. Yeah, I do." Because I care. I care about the people. I care about how their day goes. Like while I might not see everything that happens, like I can tell by the look on someone's face if they're having a good day or a bad day. And like and if it's a bad day, like I want to hug you. I want to make you feel better. Like and if you're having a good day, I want to be in your corner. I want to be by your side. I want to support you no matter what. And so like I cried with Buffy and Kelly when Lars won, you know? Like and I've cried cage side with Lindsay more times than I can count. And so it's just like it's so special to be able to be that person and to like be recognized to be that person. Like even like Lars's mom was like, "You're always just so great about being there for Lars." And she's like, "And you just will scream his robot's name over and over again." And I'm like, "Well, because I want him to know that he has people supporting him. I want everybody to know that they have people supporting them."
I mean, I know for a fact, you were there for some of my greatest moments, like when I beat Booty Brigade, and then you stood cage side when we took down Emulsifier. Mike was there. Everyone was screaming, jumping, and hollering when he got that knockout. So it's like you are the cage side gal that cheers everyone on, regardless whether they're winning or losing. It's just a nice feeling. Just you're in the zone, and all of a sudden you turn. There's Ashley right there. She's like, "All right, I'm ready to go.
I'm
Let's fight."
ready. I'm here. I want you to
Yes,
know that I'm here. Like
absolutely.
always.
I distinctly remember watching the Broody Brigade fight on stream, and you can see in the corner because they're focusing in on Corey celebrating, trying to get into the cage, all of that. You see Ashley bouncing up and down.
Every time they show that match, they show like at least a little bit of me jumping, and it just makes me laugh so much.
Amazing.
It was like one of the and like that's the thing is like that's the other cool thing about being in people's corner. Like you see some really insane, crazy things that like you're right there for. Like I watched with my two eyes Corey just rip apart Booty Group Brigade from like 2 feet away, and it was just like, what is even happening right now?
Yeah,
Like it's so crazy.
definitely making memories. That's for sure.
Yep. For sure.
All right, and then I got something for you. So it can be combat related. It might not be combat related. Everyone has that kind of motivator. What keeps them going? Whether it's I'm looking forward to the weekend, so I got to get my stuff done, so I'm not worrying about it. Or if it's combat robotics, getting that golden dumpster or getting your first win. Those are the motivators to kind of keep you going doing what you do. What is your motivator, or what motivates you to keep going, whether it's something related to combat robotics or it's something that's happening in life? What are those kind of those key moments that says, all right, Ashley, keep going, keep going? Did we lose Ashley?
Looks like we did.
I was like, she's keeping a real still face.
Yeah. Well, because it's all my love for the sport and for all of the people that I support and my teammates and everybody in the pits. All the builders are awesome.
Yeah,
We can
Uh,
always edit this part in.
absolutely. Yeah,
mm,
that's why I need the dead space. Oh,
oh,
Hold on, she'll probably pop right back, and then I can just
yeah.
I can do it again.
so- oh, did I just get it? Yep, I just got a message from Ashley. I think I lost internet.
Oh no.
Um, it's trying to reconnect. Don't worry, Mike answered the question for you.
Yeah, we still have 10 more. Oh,
Oh, please come back. Hello.
hold on. All right,
Well, sorry, guys.
All
It's
good.
okay.
That's all right. I had you covered.
Oh, good, great. I'm sure you gave the best answer ever.
Did you hear the question?
I'm wondering how close I was.
I
Did
did
you
hear
hear
the question.
All
I
right.
heard that Corey was almost done, and then Corey's face froze, and I was like, "Oh no!"
All right. I'll count you
Uh,
down with my fingers to get like
Oh, my biggest motivator. That's honestly like a really tough question. I've kind of always, and this is like, I'm an only child, right? So like I've always just kind of had to figure it out for myself. So like I've always been pretty self-sufficient and I've always wanted to just do my best and no matter what that might be. But I mean, my biggest motivator is literally all of you. Like you guys, like seriously. I'm gonna cry probably, but it's fine. Um,
It's allowed.
such a
I'm not
baby.
crying. You're crying.
I'm exactly. But it's just like watching you guys, like watching how far you progress, watching the changes, like watching the way that your guys' minds work, like, and not just you three, but like everyone in general. Like watching the way that Zoe is implementing new things and trying new things. And, you know, the way that Zach has worked so hard to get Promheta working how he wants Promheta to work. And just like watching all of our team come together and just supporting it, but not just our team as Team Defective, Honeycrack, Pandemonium, Stamina, like those four teams and even Sleepy Anime Girls Club at this point, like all five of us all sit together every event. And that's like something I so look forward to. Like, I know there's going to be an event that where I'm going to miss this year. And that's going to be like the first time I've missed an event since March of 2021. And that's going to be hard for me because I look forward to those events and seeing you guys and getting your like hugs and being there for you and stuff like that. And so it really is just like watching other people succeed.
and
Did you
that's-
get it right, Michael?
You guys, I'm gonna say I
he
was
did
pretty
say you
close.
guys, yeah.
I was gonna say that was verbatim. Mike, how did you know what she was gonna say?
I know
Um,
Ashley. You know her heart. You know she's beautiful.
I also have something to add because I really want to emphasize the fact that Ashley gives a lot of hugs. Um, this was January of 2024 event. I was calling my aunt to pick me up from the event. It was Friday night, getting ready, and I have to hang up the phone because I hear from a megaphone down the stairs, Mitch, get back up here. I need to give you a hug. And that's the other big distinct memory I have of Ashley. And I do think that really shows how much she cares about like all of us. And
Absolutely.
you,
I
You know,
mean, for our to have our first guest on here, I mean, I couldn't have thought of a
Yeah.
better person, honestly. Like Ashley's consistently making, like you go to the event and like there's always a goodie bag there ready for you, and like she's going out of her way to make the builders and effectively the entire family. We're all one big family. She makes us feel as though it's all of our special day, and that's something that will forever be thanked and remembered.
she's our
so
bot mom.
so I don't know if you know this, Ashley. I'm not sure if you were around. You know all those wind-up toys you gave us?
Yes.
Do you know there are actual battles with those? And, and we're like, who's getting knocked over? Who's getting knocked off the table? And it was actually pretty captivating.
My favorite thing ever, like I am like one of my love languages is gift giving, and so like I love to be able to find things that are like so perfect for some people. And when I got those, and literally like all however many of you had them, we're just sitting there fighting them in the pits, like all sitting in a circle, like Team Honeycracked broke a couple of them, took them apart, put them back together, and I was like, okay, we're just a bunch of engineers. Like, good job, guys. Like, you broke the toys and then you put them together. Like, I'm so glad. But
They've got treads
literally
now.
the little things, and it made everyone so happy, and it was just so like I love that. Like I said it the other day, I was like, man, I'm so mad that we're not having an event where I can make Easter baskets again. Because RIT was on Easter and Easter morning, everyone had baskets out because I'm just that way.
Right.
The NHRL pits is just a whole other experience where people are the absolute epitome of smart but stupid. We're messing around, goofing off, and eating a lot of food.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're nerds smashing each
Yeah.
other's toys, so it's like, if you can't have fun doing that, I mean, that's the epitome of what fun is, just
Yeah.
breaking each other's toys. I'll help you fix yours after
Yep.
I just broke it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the best things about the community. Oh, I'm gonna like send you to the ceiling, but don't worry, I'll help you unbend it. No problem.
I'll
Yeah,
help
I
you
mean,
down.
I may send Mike to the ceiling even if he's on my team, and then I'll come and I'll fix you, Mike. Now we have to fix the opponent because we want them to get into their next match too.
Yeah. It's just a flesh wound.
It's gonna be
Exactly.
fine.
Yeah, it's fun. Like prime example, Lars. Like just seeing his growth in the sport and like seeing everyone over the years, seeing how Zach has progressed as a builder, not only from NR, well, the 15 pound in high school to now coming to the 12 pounders, just seeing how he progressed and was able to adapt, and just seeing how Mike is from his very first event and seeing how Mitch is doing and whatnot. It's awesome to be able to see these growths.
And it's
Yeah.
weird because, like, I don't think I could tell you this is where it was going to bring me. Like, it's just the weird thing of combat robotics, or probably other sports too. But you get your foot in the door, then you do one more thing, you do one more thing, and the next thing you know, hey, I'm over here. How in the Can someone explain this to me? I need an adult.
Yeah, there's definitely more times than not where I'm like, this is surreal. Like, is this really what is happening? And it is, and it's very real. And it is one big family who, at the end of the day, just want to help each other no matter what. And so, I mean, our team is growing, you guys are growing,
Yeah.
and we know that there's going to be events where, yeah, we're just going to fight each other, but that is what
Basically.
it is, and that's just the nature of the sport. And the competitiveness is why some people are the way that they are. And then there's people like me who just want everybody to succeed all at the same time.
Yeah,
Well, I think it's a little different with like teams like Pandemonium and Defective. It's the non-college teams because you're going to have less turnover in people, depending on situational, of course. It's not like we're going to graduate.
Right.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, Jake essentially
Except for
joined
Mitch.
the
Mitch will
Defective.
graduate someday.
We hope. We hope he graduates.
Yeah, right.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and I
He's
think
got to
going
get
into
into college too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that too.
I think going into May, I think Pandemonium makes up half of the 30-pound class between me, Kevin's bringing Light Force, and I know Lyndon and Jillian are contemplating bringing both of their 30. So there's 8 right now. So we'll see what happens.
For sure. Sometimes you just can't avoid your own teammates.
No, I mean, when you make up half the field, it's definitely impossible to avoid them.
Hey, Gil, you can't put us against each other first round.
Just kidding. You get that dreaded message. So, who wants to face off against you?
Right?
Who wants to go home in a trash barrel first round?
Right?
Have fun.
And then they pair that guy with Synthesis 30.
Of course. Got him.
It's been fun. I mean, I don't know if you guys have anything else you'd like to ask Ashley. We
I
don't want
have-
to take up too much of her time.
The other thing I was just gonna say, Ashley, is there anything you want to talk? Because we, instead of like just us asking you questions, just we try to hang out,
Yeah.
Don't think I got anything. I like sometimes when the tables are turned and I don't have to.
I have one very quick last question for you.
Yes, Mitchell, ask her the question.
Yes,
Yes,
Mitchell.
I stole Vapor Trail.
Why
So-
cows?
Hold
Don't
on.
tell Yanni.
Hold on. We something very funny really quick and then you'll be able to answer it. We were in a VC, me, Mitch, and Johnny before Mike got in. And Johnny was talking to Mitch and he's like, Mitchell. And I'm like, what did I just hear? Because we all call him Mitch. And then Johnny's like, oh, Mitchell. So it kind of made me laugh. But
He is the only one who calls me that. Even the announcers, when I write in Mitchell Sullivan, they call me Mitch.
that's fun. So go ahead, Mitch. Sorry, I cut you
No
off.
problem. Ashley, very quick question for you. Very important question for you. Very serious question. Why cows?
Yeah.
So, no one has actually ever asked me that before. And I'll tell you, and there is a reason. I'm dead serious. There is a real reason, right? So when I was a kid, my parents had these friends that lived in upstate New York, and they owned a farm. And when I was little, my mom told me that this farm was a milk producing farm, and so they used to milk for this company called Stonyfield Farms Milk. And so when I was a kid, that was the only milk I would drink because I was convinced the cows that I knew were the ones that were making that milk. There was multiple farms making this milk, people, okay, right? And at some point in time, they offered a coloring contest. And so I was like, yes, Mom, I want to enter the coloring contest. And I won. And I won a stuffed plush cow that I carried around with me everywhere. And that is where it started. The family that owned these cows, we would go visit them like once a year, and they eventually had a cow and they named it Ashley. And so I had a cow named after me when I was a kid. I have a photo of me and the cow somewhere. And ever since then, I have just been obsessed. I don't know what it was that like drew me to know that cows were special, but ever since I was a kid, have literally loved cows. Unfortunately, the gentleman recently actually passed, and my mom and I were talking about it, and I got like super emotional. And my mom was like, "Why are you so upset? Like these are like not like close friends because obviously they live far away and we didn't see them at all a lot." But I was like, "Mom, I was like, they're the reason I'm obsessed with cows." And my mom was just like, "That makes so much sense." And like it was special. It was cool, and I felt cool for winning a coloring contest.
Ashley is the reason that on a Discord server that we're on, where we will hang out a lot of the time, there is a cow print heart emoji.
Yep.
For sure, you have left quite the impression on the whole community and the sport in general.
Absolutely.
Well, with that, thank you, Ashley, so much for coming on here. We really
Thank
appreciate
you
you
very
taking the
much.
time. Yeah. No one else has anything to say?
No,
Think that'll do it. Thank you.
Signing off.
yeah, later, nerds, right? Just trying to-
It was
Should
It
I
was-
should I try to like make that dig in and
it was word nerds. That's
oh yeah,
what it was.
word nerds
Nerd.
because later nerds might be a little too aggressive.
Ah,
So word nerds.
This is all going in the episode.
perfect,
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thanks,
Good night, guys.
Ashley.
Good night, everyone.
guys.
Bye.